Welcome to Cosplayland, I am Alice and today I'm going to show you my secrets to buy fabric without getting totally broke. I am actually broke because I buy too much fabric. I have been a cosplayer for over 15 years and I have made over 100 cosplays of all kinds with lots of fabrics, with only a few fabrics. I've used all kinds of fabrics and every year I keep making more and more cosplays. As you may have noticed, being a cosplayer can become kind of pricey because you can't help buying lots of materials for your cosplays and you end up accumulating lots of stuff very quickly, and if that material is also very expensive, you will be broke sooner than later. But if you are a little bit clever on where and when you buy your fabrics, you can just get yourself a bargain and make those very expensive cosplays become not so expensive at all. And I will be sharing with you some tips and tricks so you can find yourself the best materials for your next masterpiece. Here's tip number 1. If you want a truly cheap cosplay, the best thing to do is not buy any fabric. Yeah, I know. That means that you should already have the fabric, but let me explain a little bit more. It is very tempting to go to the store and just browse all the amazing fabrics that are out there, but the truth is that probably there's something in your home that you are not using and it could become the best masterpiece and your best cosplay yet. Of course, as a cosplayer that has been doing this for many years, I do have lots of scrap fabric and lots of fabrics from other projects or that I bought in the past and I'm not using anymore, but I am actually not talking about those, although they are very useful as well. In fact, you would be surprised at the amount of fabric in your house that you are not using and it could become a cosplay. And I am talking about things like bed sheets, old duvet covers, or even your old curtains. So before you go buying any fabric, make sure to look around because there could be some fabric somewhere in your house that you could be using. In the past, I've used this trick for many projects. One of the ones that I liked the most was my ruby rose, which I made with my old duvets, which happened to be in the exact colors of her cosplay. My Yashiro Nene cosplay was actually another bedsheet that I had around in my house, and things like my Peppa wedding dress were also bedsheets that my mom was not using anymore. Probably the one I'm most proud of is my Black Lobelia because her corset is actually made from old curtains that were hanging from my room just a few months before. In any case, even if you don't find the exact fabric for your cosplay, make sure you keep all these materials because very often you can use them to make mock-ups, which will help you a lot when you are making your actual cosplays because they will save you time and you can just draw on them and make a trial before you make the final cosplay without wasting the very expensive material that you bought for the real thing. That is a very good tip, but it could be that you cannot find anything that actually matches your character, or maybe you don't have any bed sheets or anything like that in your house that you can be using at the moment. Do not worry because maybe someone else had that issue and decided to part with their old bed sheet, and the place to find them is in your nearest charity shop. If you need to buy fabric and you want to find the best deals ever, the best thing to do is to go to charity shops or to places where they sell second-hand. You may be able to find things like old bed sheets and curtains that someone else used in the past and you are going to be giving them a second life. Sometimes I've been lucky enough to find fabrics even on the vault and I have used them for really cool things and dresses that I've worn to even weddings. I made this dress out of a piece of fabric that was meant to be a sari and it only cost me £2. Even if you don't find fabrics or even if you don't find bed sheets or curtains that you can use, think about using old clothes as well because there's a chance you can find some clothes that you can use for parts of your cosplay or even the whole cosplay. I made my Alicia cosplay at the time with only pieces of old clothing that I found on a second-hand store, and it was just like an XXL t-shirt, another t-shirt that I had in my house, and an old pleated white skirt that I use for hair as well. Keep your eyes open and I'm sure you will find something that can be useful for your next project. Also, if you buy in a charity shop, you are using your money for a good cause, so it's a win-win. Let's say you don't find what you are looking for and you need some more variety and some more specialized fabrics for your project. Let's go to an actual shop to buy fabric. However, you are not going to be looking at all those shiny fabrics that are on the bolts. What you're looking for is the little table in the corner that has all the remnants and all the offcuts from bolts or from fabrics that are out of stock and they are not going to be using anymore. Almost in every fabric shop, you will find bins full of fabrics that they are not using anymore, either because they were using them for some kind of demonstration or they had them all around to decorate something. Maybe they are the end of the bolt, maybe they can't move that fabric and they decided to just put it on a sale. I guarantee there's always a good offer to take home, and honestly, I always want to just bring them all with me. Actually, I almost exclusively buy Remnants, and there is one shop here in England which is called Abacan, and it's known for having a full whole floor full of these offcuts and pieces that they are not selling so much. So if you want to find a bargain, I recommend you to go to places like this that have tons of offcuts and tons of fabrics sent in small bundles. You can usually buy these fabrics 2 or 3 times cheaper. Sometimes they are only like £1 or £2 and they are incredibly affordable, so it's always a good place to start. Of course, the problem with buying Remnants, it's not only that you may not be able to find the same fabric again, but it could also be that they come pre-cut, so you may be finding only like 2-3 meters, maybe up to 5 meters, but if you need something bigger, you may need to buy your fabric directly from the bolt. For example, one of the cosplays that I made with offcuts from one of these baskets was my Wonder Woman in her blue dress, and that cost me about £5 for about 3 meters of blue fabric, very beautiful satin. I also made the dress for Mavis with offcuts that were only like £1 or £2 at the time. Even my Nezuko kimono, which I made with fabric that cost me about £10 at the time, and it was totally a bargain. If you want more fabric but you can't find it in your local shop, you may want to go online to find some fabric. I recommend you to look for shops that have dead stock fabrics, which are fabrics that have been used for fashion or for big companies that don't have the need for those fabrics anymore, so they just get rid of them and sell them at a cheaper price to these online stores. The only problem with online shopping is that you don't always know what you are going to get, so if you are a beginner, I recommend you to get acquainted with the names of different fabrics and what each type of fabric is, because you could have like a very bad surprise if you think you're buying like the best fabric ever and maybe it just arrives and you realize it's just too lightweight or it's not gonna work for whatever you're looking for. Places like eBay and AliExpress will also be good places to look for fabric because they usually will have a better deal, because most of the time they are selling from very big companies, so the price is cheaper and you can get very good deals. And if you have any issue with them, because they may take a while to arrive, you may actually end up having to delay your cosplay because your fabric didn't arrive on time or it didn't arrive on the best shape you expected. This is what happened to my Ruka Devata project when I actually ordered the fabric, but not only the fabric arrived late, over a month late, they sent me the wrong materials, and it was very difficult for me to just prove that they had sent me the wrong thing, and honestly I think that they almost tried to scam me. That's why I recommend you to read the reviews and go to trustworthy places where you know people are buying fabrics. Some of the shops that I use here in the UK are Also Crafty or cheapfabrics.co.uk, and I've never had an issue with them. and they are actually quite quick when they deliver, so I'm very happy with them. Examples of fabrics that I have bought online are my Isabella, where I bought all these materials from an AliExpress seller. It did take a full month to arrive, but it was actually exactly what I needed for. Actually, my Wednesday Addams cosplay only cost me £20 and there's over 10 meters of fabrics in this cosplay. And my Barbie cosplay was also fabric that I bought online from one of my trusted fabric sellers because I couldn't find this fabric anywhere else on all the shops that I found around in my area. Finally, my last tip to get the best deals on your fabric is to plan in advance. Maybe you have not found your fabric yet, or maybe you have found the fabric but it's still way too expensive for you to afford it. Do not worry, because you have one more chance. If you are patient enough, it may be that the fabric that you need is actually going to just be reduced in just a few weeks. Every single shop that I know will have sales at some point during the year, and probably more than once. Make sure you get coupons, that you are aware of all the new deals. Join their newsletters on social media when they will tell you if there is any particular event in which things are going to be cheaper. And also make sure you wait for things like the Black Friday or the January sales, because there is always a good deal waiting for you. Fabric shops will restock quite often and they will be changing the things that they are selling, so there is a chance that the fabric that was very expensive last month becomes very cheap this one because it's not usable or not selling so well. I often plan my cosplays several months in advance, so I can just gather all those materials and check around and see what's the best deal for each one of those fabrics. And you will be amazed of how much you can save if you plan your cosplay in advance. Psst, I have a cosplay planner. You can use it to plan your cosplays. Just so you know it. One of the cosplays that I made with 100% fabrics that were on sale was my Echidna cosplay, which happened to be one of those days in which you go to a shop and absolutely everything was 20% off, even the Remnants, so it was like a double savings for her, and I think I didn't spend more than £20 for her. Great! Now you have the best tips for buying cheap fabric. However, I still need to issue a fair warning when you buy fabric like this. First of all, buying cheap fabric is addictive and you may end up with a very big collection of fabrics that will surely become part of your decoration for many years, and yeah, you know, just be aware that may happen. And also, the issue with buying cheap fabric is that there is a chance that if you mess up, you may not be able to find the same exact fabric because it does not exist anymore. So be aware that if you're buying fabric that is not from the vault or it's not from a main store, you have enough to be able to finish your project, or at the very least, make sure you make a mock-up so you are sure it's gonna fit your pattern. Fortunately for you, if you are using any of my patterns, you can actually see the cutting layout that will tell you how much fabric you need and how you should position your pieces so you are not wasting any fabric and you will not end up with a very bad surprise in which you have to start from scratch because you didn't plan in advance and it didn't work out. In any case, I really hope this video helped you to find the best fabrics you can for your costume, and you got to save some money for your next big project. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be seeing you in the next adventure. Bye! And I am going to be showing you a few tips and trips. Tips and trips? Huh? What? And I am going to give you a few tips to buy fabric so you don't have to be breaking the pig bank. Pig bank?